So many people have asked me why Deadman's Point is called Deadman's Point. So I've looked into it, I've asked a lot of old timers, and what I believe to be most accurate is that Lake Tahoe has a certain flow to it. So there are gyres, which are like circulating pools of water that flow in a certain direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so these gyres work in a certain way along with the prevailing wind, which typically comes from the west to the east. And Glenbrook Bay is large, shaped like this. Deadman's Point is here on the north, and then South Point on the south. And Glenbrook Bay ends up like a catcher's mitt. All the junk that people throw in the lake, if they throw straws in from restaurants or they lose a baseball cap off their boat, it seems to all float into Glenbrook Bay. So we walk the beach with bags and pick up trash all the time. Whenever a person drowns in the lake, the Coast Guard comes over here and the sheriffs come into Glenbrook Bay first. Because typically when somebody drowns in the lake, if they float or if their boat gets untethered, it floats over to Glenbrook Bay and often toward Deadman's Point. About 10 years ago or so, a woman slipped off the rocks at Cave Rock and they found her at Deadman's Point. And we see sailboats and random boats throughout the year come floating across, and we realize they're not manned, and they end up typically on the north side of Glenbrook Bay along Deadman's Point. So I believe between the flow of these gyres and the prevailing wind, that it just happens that Glenbrook Bay, and particularly Deadman's Point, is a spot that catches floating dead things in the lake. So I think that's how it got its name.